We're now less than a day away to the start of the IAAF World Championships in Russia. Trinidad and Tobago's 29-athlete contingent with 11 officials arrived in Moscow on Wednesday after completing their pre-championship camp in Finland. We will, of course, stay on the ball following T&T's chances throughout the games. This morning, I bring in a couple of guests who sat as analysts during TV6 London Olympics coverage. Speedsters Ayanna Hutchinson and Nikona Alexander. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
So now you're back. We're talking World Championships. And I understand, Ayanna, you just retired from track and field,
yes,
so it's nice to sit on the other side now and look on. And Nikona, of course, both track and field. So you're not in Moscow, you're here, but you're looking on.
Yes.
So we have 29 athletes across in Moscow. Of course, everybody wants to know what are our chances.
Honestly, I think we have a really good chance this year, especially in as far as the relays for the women is concerned. These girls are looking for a little bit of redemption after the disappointment in London last year. So I think we have a really good chance this year to at least, not even get a medal. I think we definitely could get a medal.
Are you surprised that we sent 4 relay teams across? And I mean, what type of preparations do they have to be? I mean, it must be a lot because it's now not just one team or 2 teams, it's now a total of 4 teams. So I mean, everyone, I'm sure, have you gotten any feedback at all from their pre-camp?
1 or 2 I usually read on where everybody's friends with one another on Twitter, so we usually have that kind of back and forth. From what I'm seeing, everybody seems to be in good spirits, with the exception of 1 or 2 complaints about the traffic. It's really, I didn't even expect it to be so bad, but everybody seemed to be in good spirits and getting ready to get their game faces on for this year.
So Nikona, as a past athlete, what kind of preparations would they have gone through in this pre-camp in Finland, especially now that they kind of want to, the women's team want to redeem themselves a little bit, and of course the men having, of course, always, you know, Trinidadians be proud, we have something to prove and we have a big ego. So what kind of pre-training sessions would have taken place in this week coming up to the World Championships?
Okay, well, the camp that they had in Finland will be about fine-tuning, because all the previous work could have been done in the off-season and during the previous competition. So right now it's about mental focus, and especially for the relays, especially men's 4x1, where there's 2 new additions, you know, they'll have to get everything down pat.
Because I know there are 2 junior athletes that have joined the team, and of course all of them haven't probably ran together in probably a very long time or at all, if ever, because of these 2 new athletes. So now they're going to have to get that practice with the baton and these kinds of things. So you think that the time was enough for them to do that?
I think they probably needed some more time, but once they practice at full speed, they need to do at least 3 relays at full speed in training to have an idea of how they would perform at their World Championships, because I thought they would have run at a pre-meet competition, but I haven't seen anything. So.
I believe that there was supposed to be a competition-friendly kind of thing last weekend, but I haven't read or heard anything about it. Have you?
Yeah, I saw a couple of pictures on Facebook, and a couple of girls took part in the 400 meters flat, and they make up, I think, out of the 3 girls that competed, I think they make up the majority of the 4x4 team for the women, which is a really good thing. I was so proud when they actually qualified. Yay, ladies. I'm not sure if they actually had relays, because it was more of a smaller meet. They were only 6 lanes, so it would have been a little bit difficult, if I'm not mistaken, to actually have a full relay team there, because I think it was just us and like some other invited people along for the meet. So they're really going to need to get that chemistry down. That's going to be the most important thing, to get that chemistry down, so you can have trust amongst the teammates, so they will be able to have that level of comfort to pass that stick, knowing that their teammate is going to do their job. Okay.
Well, you know, we have a breakdown of the athletes, of course, that are over there. Let's go through some of the athletes and see, you know, what do you think their chances are? How well, you know, what do you think our medaling chances are? Nikon is the stats man there. So.
All right.
You want to start with the women? Yeah, I'll start with the women.
Okay, yeah.
Kelly, of course, is the current bronze medalist from Indigo. She's going to have, I don't want to say an easy time, because with all the doping scandals that's been going on, a lot of the big names are not there. So it's going to be...
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it may be a good thing, but you can't underestimate the rest of the competition either, because everybody is seeing the same thing we are saying, that, all right, Veronica's not there, Jeter's hurt, so we're looking at, all right, who our competition might be. You can't underestimate nobody in this thing. So you have, I think our chances are very good, but we still have to be cautious about the other competitors out there.
Okay.
I think Michelle is a little bit of a dark horse. She had a really good season this year, and I expect her to do well. It might be a little bit difficult for her to actually make it to the finals, but if she does, that's going to be a really, really good plus for us. I'm not sure if Kai is going to be competing in the 100, even though she placed third at nationals. She is more of a 200 specialist, so I think her attention may be divided. So I'm not sure if her coach is going to allow her to compete in both. She does have the first choice preference to compete, because you're allowed 3 competitors from each country in the 100,
right,
or in all the flat events.
But is she specializes more in 100 meter?
Well, I don't want to say she specializes. As a sprinter, you're supposed to be able to run both 1 and 2.
I was thinking of
but she has a lot more talent in the 200 meters.
Okay.
But she is also a very competent 100 meter sprinter, so it's going to be her decision whether to compete in both or to save herself for the 200 meters.
Okay.
Seymour Hackett, on the other hand, she's I don't want to say replacement, but she's a good addition to the team to take over as if Kai decides not to run into the 100 meter qualifiers. Okay. The other 2 competitors, Rhea and Kamara, Rhea Thomas and Kamara Durant, they're really good athletes in their own right. They make good additions to the team because they're the reserves as well for the team. So I think these ladies have a really, really good chance to do well in both flat events, in the 100 and the 200, and do well in the relay.
Now, have they competed in a relay before, that same 4?
I think so, yeah. Kelly, Michelle, Kai,
I think for the nationals, did they do it?
No, I don't think they didn't run any 4x1 for nationals this year, but they competed together in pen relays. They competed together, also, well, from London too. They already have this chemistry amongst them, so it's not going to be that difficult for them to get their minds together and get this medal and bring home the medal. Okay,
you talked a little bit about competition, seeing who their competition is. When they're in training camp, pre-training camp, do they get to see other athletes, or are they kind of
not everybody's based in the same place. Like we were based in Trinidad is based in Finland. I understand the Jamaican team was actually based in Russia. So there's a difference, there's a difference in where your base is. You might not be able to see your immediate competition until you get to Worlds. So that's the only thing.
Okay, so let's go, Nikona. Let's take a look at the men, because we know, of course, we are looking on at the men. I don't know why all this Usain Bolt is getting all this hype on all the international media, and our men are not getting. So let's give our men some hype, and let's see where they're at. We're facing medals.
Okay, I have J.U. Gordon for gold.
Of course. I
have him for gold. He has been performing very well. I mean, through the past years, and I think this year is his year. So no doubt about that. We won't spend too much time on him because
it's just understood.
Gold. That's understood. So J.U. All right. Bledman. You have Keston Bledman, Richard Thompson, and Ronald Cirillo running the 100. I believe the 3 of them can make it to the final. Right? As Ayanna said, some of the top competition was out due to drugs, so it make it a lot easier for us. And I see no reason why they can't make it through the final. And
who would you think, of course, would be their competition? Usain Bolt, of course. But
and Nesta Carter of Jamaica. Usain Bolt and Nesta Carter.
Okay.
Right now, Bledman is ranked 42 according to the IAAF website. Richard Thompson 58 and Ronald Cirillo 97. But I think this weekend all of that will change. So I'm not going by.
And those rankings were based. How recent were those rankings? Based on their last competition.
Ronald Cirillo is the 8th of May. Richard Thompson June 8th, and Keston Bledman August 3rd.
As an athlete, though, when you look at rankings like that, you see 46 and 58, we're thinking, wow, that's kind of low down. But, I mean, as a retired athlete, and you're looking at, those statistics are good statistics going into World Championships?
Well, not really, because you have a lot of repeat
performances. Yeah, so you would tend to find the same person would run a faster time, so even though Keston is ranked 42nd, he may have run a faster time earlier in the season. But you have so many people running. You say might run a 9.8, and then he might run a 9.89, and then he might run a 9.97.
Oh, so it will go up and down all the
exactly.
time.
So you would find a lot of those that same athlete has like 3 or 4 listings on the IAAF rankings. So that the numbers don't really mean that, well, they're the 42nd best athlete in the world.
Right.
Yeah, that's just a ranking of, as far as the time is concerned, that's where you rank at this point in time. But it doesn't, it's just a matter of statistics for everybody else to understand what's going on.
All right.
All right, the men's 4x1, we have 2 newcomers, which would be Jamal James and Rondell Cirillo. So,
Mean to the 4x1.
to the 4x1. Usually it used to be Bledman, Mark Burns, Emmanuel Calendar, and Richard Thompson. So hopefully they work out the most optimal positions. Hopefully. So if you ask me, I would keep...
I was just going to ask you, yes. So where would you put them?
All right, I would keep Bledman on first. I'll put Rondell Cirillo on the second leg, Jamal James on third, and leave Richard Thompson to anchor.
So you would give Jamal a chance in the thing. But again, have they gotten a chance to enough time to practice together? Because as you say, you know, the chemistry and the gel, and they need that.
I'm not sure, but I hope so. Keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Keep
Okay.
fingers crossed.
All right. So we do need to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about doping, because you both just mentioned, well, thankfully this one is not in, and thankfully that one is not in, giving our athletes, of course, a better chance. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more doping. We do have to take a break. When we come back, more Sporting Edition. We continue to talk the IAAF World Championships.
Yes, open your eyes. Yes, my people.
Okay, so we're continuing to talk IAAF World Championships, and of course our chances is coming up beginning August 10th in Moscow. So we were talking about the athletes, and of course you cannot neglect the fact that anti-doping has been big in the news. Of course we just passed our legislation right here in Trinidad, and I was reading where of course they're going to be tested for blood parameters, and they're going to be going through a series of urine tests. Our chances have increased, do you think, because of the scandal with Asafa and Tyson Gay and all these people out? I mean, I'm sure as an athlete, let's say, Nikona, you were on the T&T relay team with the 100 meter, and you heard of these, would you secretly inside say, yes?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, right. So what do you think? I mean, I don't know if you're in touch with the guys over there, if you're friends with them on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, but what is their feeling going into this? I mean, I'm sure it must be a nice positive one.
Well, I haven't spoken to any of them as yet, but I think that the confidence level is boosted, because when you have people like Tyson Gay not there, who else? Asafa. You know, everyone will feel like, yes, now we have a chance. And even during the game too, some people might test positive. So, but once they know
you
that...
think people would take that chance, though, coming off the heels of this scandal?
You would be surprised.
Everyone wants to be a superstar.
Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants that opportunity to stand on that podium. And I've grown cynical over the years. I used to be so optimistic as far as, no, this person is not on drugs and that, no.
But as an athlete, you know that you're going to be tested. So then, of course, it's a risk. So should I take this thing that either my coach or trainer, whoever has advised me to take cough syrup or whatever, or because I know I'm going to be tested. So what kind of decision process is that? Because I have no idea. Do they approach you to? Do they offer it to you?
Me personally,
you would know. You would know.
But I would suspect that these people who are doping, they know fully well what they're doing. They know fully well, like, all right, I know I'm going to be tested, so I'm just taking whatever masking agent to hide whatever drugs I'm taking, and that's the risk that they decided to take. So
you can take a drug and there's a masking agent for the drug.
it depends on what you're taking too, because certain things
You all seem to be very well aware of these
Yeah.
things.
You see, it's your job, so you need to be aware, because when the athlete, you know, you build trust and confidence in your coach. You know, some coach will say, all right, I have some supplements for you. So you take this in the morning, take this in the afternoon, and they would give it to you.
But as an athlete, should you not question it, or you so have 100% trust in this coach?
Well, that's the thing. Take the bottle, read what's listed on the label, and Google it. I mean, WADA, they have everything listed, so you can go and search it. It's painstaking, but, but you need to do it in order to protect yourself and your integrity.
Because at the end of the day, you can't blame your coach, but then at the end of the day, you're the one that's out.
You're responsible for what goes into your body.
Exactly, you're responsible for what you take. So that, to me, and this, I have an issue with the WADA listing too. I think there's so many drugs that don't enhance performance that is on the list, and then I think personally they really need to reevaluate this listing, because
You think maybe because they're just trying to give a wide range of...
I have no idea if that's what they're trying to do, but I think it's really annoying to the point that you have to be so painstakingly careful that if I get sick and I know for a fact NyQuil helps me feel better, I cannot take a NyQuil because I have competition in 2 weeks or 2 days.
And there's something in NyQuil that is
yeah, that's bad. That one little thing that I cannot take to make me feel better, and it's not going to enhance my performance in any way, to the point that, all right, I'm going to run 11 or 10, 9 seconds come 2 days if I take NyQuil. That's ridiculous.
I think if everybody knew that NyQuil would enhance your performance the next day, work for maybe even an 8-hour shift, everybody would be taking NyQuil, right?
Would be taking NyQuil.
But I mean, that combined with nerves, you're away from home, you're in a new environment. You said the traffic was ridiculous. I don't know, they should be accustomed to traffic by now. But I mean, a combination of all those things, and then your coach saying, here, take this, you'll feel better, whatever. And you know what, absent-mindedly, you might just really take it. But I guess it's probably pounded into your brain so much that you're like programmed.
You have to remember too, these are, sorry, I'm going to cut you off. These are professional athletes. They know how to deal with nerves. They know how to deal with whatever little intricacies that has nothing to do with your performance. If traffic is an issue, you have to ignore it when you get out there on the track, regardless of what. So I think they know how to deal with these things. And as far as the little nerves are worried and whatever else the case is, there are people surrounding them, the coaches, the staff, the officials. Those are the ones who to try and make that transition from dealing with the everyday stuff to focus on what you have to do on the track. So I don't think we have too much to worry about as far as that aspect is concerned.
But Nikon, as an athlete, when you were performing, and especially if you're away from home, does that affect your, well, it's in your mindset, so you might be missing your spouse or your children, or you may have a sick relative or whatever. Does that affect you mentally, or is it just focus, tunnel vision, this is where I want to be on this podium?
All right, at some point it will affect you, but we have a sports psychologist that travels with the team, so the athletes should make use of the sports psychologist. You speak to them, tell them this is what I'm experiencing, and they would keep you in a session and calm your mind. But once you step out on the track, the only thing you need to be focused on is getting to the finish and how you execute your race.
Talking about track, I know a couple years ago we put down this Grand Mondo track at the National Stadium. Sorry, the Hazy Crawford Stadium, and I know that over there's now a high-tech track with the Mondo. How much of a difference does this Mondo track make? Because I understand that it's 2 different types of surfaces. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but they're saying that the harder the surface, it actually helps you to run better. I don't know, as athletes, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, for sprinters, the harder the surface, better, because what you put into the track, you get out. For long distance, it will be an issue, because long distance you need a little softer landing, because running for like 15,000 or 3,000 meters on a hard surface, that causes to get shin splint. So it's a give and take.
Maybe it's a good thing that we put that Mondo track down, because at least the athletes, all of these guys and girls have run on that track already, and at least they got the little experience with the difference in the track. Because when I saw the Mondo track, I was like, wow, this is, of course there were little pieces, so, you could actually touch it and feel it, but it really is different from the track that was there previously. So as athletes going over there, this high-tech stadium, I don't know how high-tech is high-tech, but I'm sure it probably would be beneficial to them,
I think the high tech kind of comes into the placement of how the 100-meter stretch is. So you're trying to get the best win with assisted times or whatever the case is. They would place everything where it's to benefit the athletes. You want to have the best time, so you wouldn't put it in a hurricane zone if my terminology is correct. But as far as the track is concerned, I'm guessing is a good balance. It's not too hard, it's not too soft, so you will have the best possible performances. I think in Berlin in 09, the track was freshly laid and Bolt ran like 9.6, 9.58. So they were like, oh yeah, the height because of the track, and it was like, to me it's just making sure the track not too hard, not too soft, just right, so we can get our jobs done.
Specifically engineered for performance.
Yes.
Not like it's enhancement drugs. Right?
No.
You talked about the wind just now. How important is wind?
Wind is very important.
You wouldn't think of that. When I read the article on it last night, I was like, I didn't think of that.
Wind is very important, especially for sprinters. Sprinters and jumpers, wind is very important because you could run such a fast time and it's a fast time, but it's not a legal fast time. You have to have you have to have a 2.0 wind. Anything that is 2.0 and below is considered to be a legal time. Anytime is over 2 plus is considered to be.
Well, that's what, like hurricane winds. I mean, how much does this wind really have to be?
2.0 meters per second.
Yeah.
Right. And so anything over that, it wouldn't. If you run a personal record or a world record, they would not recognize it.
So then, if on the day it's windy, would they stop a race?
No, they don't.
Everything would just proceed as normal. It's just that the time would not be recognized as an official world record or record of any sort because the time, the amount of wind allowable was over the legal limit. So anytime you have like a 2.0 on the dot, it's considered to be legal. Anything below 2.0, 0, 1, 0.1. That's considered to be legal. Anything over 2.0.
How fast really is a 2.0 wind? I mean, it's just like a gentle kind of breeze, isn't it? But you wouldn't think that little, I'm thinking 2.0 is a little bit, right? It might not be, but I'm thinking it's a little bit. How much of a difference can that really make?
Well, remember, you measure the 100 meters in hundreds of seconds, right? So any little push you get, it will add up over time. It will add up. Right.
Okay.
So,
but what if the wind is going the opposite direction?
That's a headache we have to deal with. Because unfortunately, I remember at one point in time you were trying to qualify for Worlds, and I had like 11.30 was the qualifying time, and I ran like 11.31, and the wind was like 2.1. And I'm like,
that should not have been a difference.
It shouldn't have been, but it was.
It was. Yeah.
It was. You wouldn't feel it when you're running a race, but then you could see the difference as far as your time is concerned, especially when you're running in such strong headwind conditions. When you have 3.0 breeze and 4.0 breeze, you feel it as an athlete thinking, I'm not going anywhere, and then your times reflect that. Right. Unless you're really, really good and could crank out optimal times like Bolt and them boys and run 9 point with a 3 point whatever headwind, then that's really, really good.
Right.
That means that when you get down to a perfect breeze, you could go
whatever that
is. Exactly, way faster.
Yeah. So now coming out of these championships, what are you all expecting? What kind of medals are you thinking we're going to be getting?
Okay. J. Hugh Gordon. I have the men's relay. I have the women's the men's 4x1, the women's 4x1, the men's 4x4. I mean, these are Olympic medals.
J.U. is in all of those, isn't he?
No, J.U. is not in all. J.U. is in only 400 hurdles, and I think he's a reserve for the 4x4.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if he's a top 4. Okay. I don't think he's in the top 4 to be actually running on the relay. I think he's more of a reserve. As far as the 4x4 women is concerned, they could be a surprise because nobody really wasn't expecting them to perform as well as they did in CAC. They got the gold medal in CAC and they actually made that world qualifying standard. So everybody was like, yes. Really game, because I've been on the team so often, and the 4x4 women really do get the short end of the stick. It's really difficult. So I'm really proud of my girls. I'm happy for them. And I really do think if, given the right circumstances, if they get the right heat with the right competition, they could actually make the final.
Okay, so what about the ladies? What medals are you looking at?
Oh, the ladies. Well, I think Kelly could more than improve on her bronze medal from last year. We could have some surprises. Simoy actually made the 200-meter finals in London last year, so she could be a surprise. I have full faith in Kai. She could be a surprise as well. The relay, I think right now, based on our current standing and where we were last year, we have a very good chance of getting a medal in that 4x1.
All right, well, I'm sure you'll be looking on feverishly. We hope to be seeing it somewhere. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. And you wanted to say something in the corner?
Yes, let's not forget Mr. Javin Guy.
Oh,
Kishon World Cup. Yes.
I'm embarrassed for the both of you. But no, we were talking athletics, so yeah, the track and field. I'll forgive you.
We can't forget him. We have Jaren Solomon in the 400. Dion Lendo. I think they I have them in the finals.
I think based on the corner, we're coming home with 29 medals. So, so thanks so much for joining us. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing what they bring back when they come back from Moscow. So we do need to take a quick break. When we come back, Sporting Edition continues.
Drumming in harmony. Yeah.